Our lives are a string of insights, flashes of inspiration that can be the catalyst for new ideas. However, our pace of life these days means we tend to miss some of them completely. I'm Dave Hill, and I'm the host of the Simple Reflections podcast, a fortnightly series of interviews with people from all walks of life. Our conversations are an invitation to reflect on some of the simple insights my guests have had that have gone on to have a profound impact on their lives. So grab a cuppa and a biscuit, join us, slow down for a little while and see what shows up for you. Welcome to the next episode of the Simple Reflections podcast. Today I'm rejoined by my dear friend Rachel Furman from Los Angeles. You may remember that Rachel joined us on the 30th of July in 2023, back when this was still a fairly new thing. And in that session, Rachel reminded us that there's only one thing, and that is now. And you may also remember that Rachel was suffering with stage 4 cancer, and there's been, thankfully, a great deal of now since then up until today. But I know time's now short for you, Rachel, and you wanted to come and share what's going on for you now, what you're feeling now, and how the last period of time has been. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everything that you're doing in sharing in conversations like this, so you can help other people going through similar things. So bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. I'll start with saying that I wasn't suffering and still not suffering from my condition. I have a condition and I'm living with that condition. And suffering is something that I've been teaching my clients and hopefully everyone around the world, that suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable. Emotional pain, physical pain, and a lot of times pain is a good thing. It warns us that there is something going on that needs attention. But I'm not suffering, and I'm not suffering because I'm not expecting things to be different. I'm not fighting the situation. I'm not resisting the situation. All those things, all those thoughts are creating suffering. And I'm not suffering even when I have a lot of pain. I deal with it. Okay, I wake up in the morning, especially now, and I'm like, okay, what's going on today with my body, and what can I do? What is possible? How do I deal with it and continue? And it's more of it's not even a challenge. It's more of like an interesting inquiry to see where I am. What is my zero today? And it changes daily and sometimes during the day. So the audience understands. My liver stopped working, and which means that I have only a few weeks to go. Of course, I'm not God, and nobody is, so nobody knows how many weeks. And it's okay. It's part of the journey. I have two things that I still want to be here for. The first, one is a visit with a dear friend from England, and the other one is my birthday on the 8th. And and the reason I want to get to my birthday is very, very vain, because I think that if they say that I died at 68, it doesn't sound as good as 69. 68 people think it's too young. At 69, you're almost 70. It's your time anyways. So I just thought about it. I'm like, a few more days. I just want to have the 69 under my belt. And of course, all my friends want to celebrate me. Suddenly, everybody wants to celebrate me and come and visit and say happy birthday and stuff, which I don't want to miss. But that part, I know how much they love me, so I really don't need that part. I mean, it's going to be lovely, when they come and celebrate me, but I don't need that. But I want the 69 rather than 68.
Well, and you're more than entitled to that. Absolutely. And thank you so much for making that distinction about suffering. That and it's I suppose the reason I used that word was laziness more than anything else. It's something that's associated, I
Yeah,
suppose, and it's something for us all to be aware of actually in terms of the language that we use and what
yes,
that potentially creates. And
yes,
you know, I am and will always be grateful for moments like that where I went, yeah, that's a fair point, Rachel. Thank you very much. Because, it layers on a whole load of assumption potentially, which
exactly.
isn't there. And it's yeah, it's just a learnt way of saying something. And
Yeah.
yeah, fingers crossed I'm going to learn from that. We'll see. We'll see. Um, hmm. What have you been noticing more and more recently? What's been becoming more fresh for you?
The one thing that I really was surprised by is the calmness. I'm totally calm. I'm aware of my well-being, the fact that I'm okay no matter what. I really am okay no matter what shows up. Um, but I'm really serene and calm. And people come and visit me and they expect me to be in bed mood and falling apart and crying. And I'm entertaining them. And they're like, how are you doing that? And it's not like I'm getting up, in the morning and I have a bad thought of like, let's think positive. It's none of that. It's built in. It's built into the point where my doctor's assistant needed to tell me what's going on. They thought there was a blockage, and realized there was no blockage, which means that the liver is, you know, not malfunctions. And she couldn't talk. She literally fell apart after 7 years being in treatment and knowing me, and really, we created a very nice bond. And she just cried. She just fell apart, and I was totally calm. And she's like, "Do you understand what I'm telling you?" I want to say to her, "What do you think? I'm stupid? You know, I'm a retired pharmacist. I do understand what you're telling me, but why are you falling apart? It is what it is." And when I was so calm, I didn't say anything like that, but I didn't talk. I didn't talk. I was just so calm that she was able to calm down and then talk to me, and explain more things, and how it's gonna go from now on, and stuff like that. But it was like so interesting that my grounding, my state of mind, was influencing her state of mind.
Mm,
And that was amazing to see. You do that, with a client in a conversation, and you're aware that, that's where you're going. It was like a transaction of like less than a minute. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic to see that and experience that.
mm,
How much power we have over the other person. And we didn't even know that.
hmm. Yeah. I was speaking to somebody today about, you know, looking at the cold facts of things. We know going into something with calmness and clarity is going to serve us way more than going intense and all het up. And yet we think sometimes that we don't have a choice in that. Um, and what you've just described there is one person's choice to remain grounded in the moment, and the other person being inspired to realize that that's possible too. Not necessarily consciously, but when,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I can come down to that level. Um, yeah, it's a wonderful gift, and as is, your willingness to share that at this stage of your life, and I am hugely grateful for that.
thank you.
What have when we spoke last, over 2 years ago now, you were doing your best to live life as much to the full as you could. You were traveling all over the place and ticking things off and seeing people and one might say, squeezing a lot in. Um, but I think what we'd actually say is living your life, actually. Um, uh, what have you noticed in that for yourself versus the first time we met, which was in London when you were very frightened? You know, how has life been since you've started seeing things this way round, and how much have you learned from that process?
Well, it became really fun. It became about, um, planning trips and squeezing enough trips, between April and November. And, because that was like I called it my travel season. And from November on till April, I stayed home and, mainly did more of like the medical stuff. Although I did it while I was traveling in between. Um, Life became fun. Life became very rich. And people
Mm.
were so like the conversation turned from how are you to where are you going next? Where are you?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
What's your next trip? What's your plan? And that turned it around because, rather than being totally stuck in dealing with health and doctors and stuff, suddenly I had a life. I went folk dancing, not pole dancing, people folk dancing. With my accent, people often mistake and go out with friends and really enjoy planning the trip, and going and seeing. I went last year to Japan. And I was in Norway when you heard me on the call. I was in Finland. I was this time. Um, I went to Israel and from there to Rome and back to Israel. And then there was the war, and I got stuck in the war in Israel, which I didn't need that experience of running to shelter day and
Yep.
night. And, for 11 days and not having any flights out to go back to my treatments and to home. And it became a little bit too much
Hmm.
emotionally. But other than that, I really had a great time. I really enjoyed my life.
Mm. I think there's a lesson in there for us all to enjoy all of it. You know, and I can, most people will understand the excitement of planning a trip,
Yeah.
but we could be excited about planning a meal. We could be excited about going to the shops and picking
Yes.
up our
Yes.
groceries.
Yes.
We get to choose how
Yeah.
we view every moment.
Yeah.
And you're a wonderful reminder of that.
Thank you. And I want to add to that is that the treatment became, like going to work. I never liked going to work. And it's like, okay, in order to maintain the house that I'm living in, which is my body, I need to pay a mortgage. And going to the doctors in my case was the mortgage. I needed to work at that. And so once every other week, once every 3 weeks, I would do whatever it takes to maintain the house,
Hmm.
you know, my body. And it was very clear that that's what I'm doing. And I didn't resist it or resented it. I just listened to my body and see how it took the medication. If I am too tired, I asked an extra week off, which in the beginning was so hard on my German doctor. Change the schedule. It's like, no, that's the protocol. Uh-huh. And then the next time he's like, do you know how hard it is to change, dates on the computer? I'm like, uh-huh. And in the beginning, he was afraid that I'm going to run away. And when he saw that I'm, very responsible and I'm coming back, it turned into, when are you coming?
Mm.
And what was amazing that, we had a rough relationship, because, he declared me as the most difficult patient he has ever had. And he kept on saying that over and over and over. And the last time I saw him, he said, I can already put you on hospice. I said, I want one more time to torture you. So then he said, do you see that? I don't have hair because of you. And I said, you're going to remember me for a very long time. He goes, uh-huh. And of course, my hope is that he has learned something from the journey and how I managed it, and for his bedside manners. But I kind of like didn't even take him seriously in that response. I didn't take it personal. And like he knows what he's doing in his job. That's why I'm here. And I know about my body. That's my job.
Mm.
I'm going, it's a team. Even if he doesn't realize we're a team, we're a team. And I'm going to insist that we're a team, even though he doesn't, you know, is the know it all, German professor, who goes around the world and teaches everybody. And here comes Rachel. Yeah, she was a retired pharmacist, but what does she know anything? She tells me what to do. It was a tough cookie to swallow. And only lately when I came back after the war in Israel, I was rescued by, thank God for being Americans. They had a rescue flight. And because of my condition, I was on one of those flights back. Um, when I came in, he was so thrilled to see me. And he told me how much he worried about me. And I mean, it was like, wow, I didn't realize how much he really, really cared about me.
Mm.
And that was lovely. That was really lovely. To see that he actually, with all his attitude, he actually cares for me. I mean, he really cares for me. And he wants my best.
Mm.
So that was lovely to see. I'm like, oh, wow, great.
It makes you wonder whether his lack of bedside manner, for want of a better term, whether that is something created by him to create separation so that he doesn't feel too attached.
But,
You know,
but he was opposing an Israeli, and we don't take prisoners. It's like, I don't care, you know.
Yeah, oh no, no, but I mean, just
Yeah,
generally, he's probably
yeah,
like that with all his patients, not just you.
yeah.
And I
Well,
wonder,
I referred a few people to him, and everybody said he was lovely and nice. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
it's just you then. You're the special one. Naughty step for Rachel. I'm conscious that you get tired very quickly at the moment.
Yes.
Is there is there anything particular that you would most want to share with the people listening to this episode?
Well, the one thing that comes to mind is the fact that we are not in control of most of our lives and most of the things that are happening to us. And the least we resist it, the least we are upset about it, the least we are in opposition to it. And the more we are in acceptance, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes. And I'm not saying do it fakely. I'm saying that through the understanding of the three principles, those notions are embedded in me. I mean, I really was surprised how much uh, it was like automatic. It
Mm.
was already built in. I did not need to do anything because of my understanding, and it was like phenomenal. I mean, it was really easy. And it was like, wow, really. And the other thing is that, as long as you are here, no matter what is happening, have fun, laugh, enjoy. There's no reason to be upset about stuff. Really, there's no, I mean, it's not like I don't get upset. When I got out of the house and I had a flat tire, on a day that I have full of, all kind of chores, I didn't like it, but I was like, okay, what do I do now? I go to the garage and I take care of it,
Mm.
you know? Okay, maybe staying upset about the flat tire is not going to change, not going to change the flat tire. It's not going to fill it up. I better continue the day and do what I can do and just be okay with it. This shall
Mm.
also pass.
Yeah. The our ability to, this word might upset some people, but surrender to the moment. And what I mean by that is not roll over, but realize that actually what is, and let's
Yes,
just get on with that. And
exactly.
if we try and resist it, that is where we start beating ourselves up and causing our own pain and upset. And the only thing that ever changes is surrendering to the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's it's a beautiful reminder for all of us that, as you said all the way back in 2023, the only thing is now. And I've absolutely loved sharing this moment with you, Rachel. Um, I want to thank you for being my friend. Um, I want to let you know how much I love you. And I'm so pleased you wanted to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you very much. And I hope, people will be able to hear, and hopefully it's going to help at least one person, because this recording is going to stay forever.
Mm. Yeah, I have no doubt it will help way more than one person, Rachel.
Well, one for me is enough.
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand that. Um, Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. Good seeing you.
And you.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the conversation, feel free to subscribe and join me and my new guest next time. If you're interested in the work I'm doing, or you think I can be of service to you or your organisation, please email dave@simplicityofmind.co.uk. Remember, see if you can find time to slow down and reflect. Those simple ideas might be worth listening to. Take care, and I hope you can join me in a couple of weeks.